Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football, welcome back to a brand new video. I hope all of you are doing well today. I'm doing fantastic today. I've had a great day and I'm gonna shine you into why, right? What has gone down today, you can see it in the title. I've had a pretty unique experience and I'm gonna share it with you. Despite Chelsea losing at the hands of Manchester City yesterday at the Etihad, I gave you my thoughts on the game and my review. If you haven't caught it already, you can catch it here, but today I got a special invitation, and that invitation was none other than going to Chelsea's training ground, Cobham, courtesy of Chelsea's official sponsor, Wellfin, who invited me along to go and watch Chelsea train this afternoon. So big shout out and massive thank you to Wellfin. Do check out Wellfin. Links are in the description to have a look at what Wellfin offer. But they managed to get me access, and big thank you to Chelsea Football Club as well for allowing me to go and watch the training session alongside some others. But via Wellfin, Wellfin helped to make it happen. Chelsea assisted and allowed my experience to be absolutely fantastic at the training ground. So huge thank you to Wellfin for making it happen, and huge thank you to Chelsea Football Club for facilitating it. And today was absolutely unbelievable, absolutely unreal day. Now, bearing in mind it's a training session, and there were chances to meet the players, the manager, and all of that. I'm going to go into some detail as to what my experience was today. I've got pictures to share with you. Now, I could not take any footage or anything of the session, and I'm not going to talk about the session. I cannot talk about the session. I have to respect the players and the squad and Graham Potter as manager in the fact that, you know, there's things during that session that they want to keep private. We can't let any opposition know or anything like that about those details in the session, so I'm not going to go into great detail, but there are a couple of things that I've noticed that I want to share with you that are quite positive about the group. There are, I feel, a couple of negative things that personally I noticed, but I'm not going to go into great detail on those ones because, as I've said, I want to protect the squad, I want to protect the club, I don't want to give any advantage of information away to any opposition, so I'm going to keep that to myself. But I don't think you guys are stupid. You guys watch the football matches, you guys have pointed out things that we already know. Let's leave it at that, right? Let's leave it at that in terms of what we've noticed isn't quite going for Chelsea at the moment. Let's just say a lot of us are not wrong, you know, about what we're seeing. And the players know that, I think, and the manager knows that. I think it's pretty evident. So that is what happened down at training. I'm going to share some pictures with you because we did manage to get some pictures with the players, with Graham Potter, and of the whole experience. But I'm going to give you my overall thoughts on what went down today. But the experience was fantastic. We got to Cobham. Immediately into the press room. There was none other than Lee Parker in the press room who, he took the pictures for me. So much appreciated to Lee. He was absolutely fantastic, a proper gentleman. I went with my dad. I took my dad out there. So it was me and my dad, and we got pictures in the press room. We got pictures alongside the Champions League trophy, the replica, of course. It's not the real trophy that Real Madrid currently have. We had it, but that was pretty cool. Massive respect and huge thanks to Lee Parker for facilitating in the press room for us, because his welcome was absolutely fantastic. So thank you, Lee Parker. We went out into training. Lads came out, Graham Potter came out, and we started to watch them train. As I've already said, I'm not going to go into detail as to what that session involved. I think we're going to see some things in the games to come. Well, we've got Newcastle and then we've got the World Cup, so we'll see what happens afterwards. But maybe during Newcastle, I will definitely be able to notice if there's things from that session that take place during the game. But there are some points that I want to clarify, because I learned a few things about the squad today. I learned a few things about the players. So I want to mention, first and foremost, let's talk about the attitude of the players. Yesterday against Manchester City, after the game, we saw Azpilicueta have to call over a lot of the Chelsea players who were going straight down into the tunnel to go and say thanks to the away supporters that travelled to Manchester to watch. I spoke with Aspi earlier on, and I told him when I took the pictures with him, and you can see these pictures on screen now, but I took a picture with Aspi, and in the meanwhile of that, I did tell him, Aspi, thanks for telling the lads to come over to the fans after the game was done yesterday, because, it's for me, it's a necessary thing. Those fans, especially that far, it's not a London derby. Fans have to travel 5-6 hours to get to Manchester sometimes. They get there, they get a poor result, they got to go home. On a weekday, on a weeknight, Some of them work, right? So Aspie rightfully got all of them to come right back and go and say thanks. If not, they would have gone straight down the tunnel. I didn't like when I saw that clip. I told Aspie, thank you for telling them to come over to the fans after the game. That's much appreciated. You know what he told me? He told me, look, it's the least we can do, you know? And I was like, absolutely spot on. Azpilicueta is a top captain. I mean, you know, we know in terms of his ability, we know in terms of his legs going, the age, all of that, understandable. But in terms of what he brings, what he is as a captain, he's fantastic. He's fantastic. So big shout out to Aspie, and he was fantastic earlier on as well. Proper character. He trains really well as well. I have to be honest, he trains really well, and that brings me on to something. Talking about the attitude, because I just mentioned there were players that went straight down the tunnel. During training, I have to say, there isn't anyone it doesn't look like there's anyone that kicking up a fuss or doing anything like that. Everyone's got their head down. As I've said, during the sessions, you can see points of improvement that's needed. You can see it. I'll be real. But the attitude to doubt, even players that we've all, had question marks over. I'll give an example. Hakim Ziyech, Pulisic, a few of those lads. Well, away from the training, at least in training, they look good. But away from the training, you get to speak to him and all of that. Especially Hakim Ziyech. Him and my dad had a bit of banter, which was actually pretty cool. But you can see he's actually a cool guy. He's actually a cool guy. And so are a lot of the lads. And that brings me on to someone who I know gets questioned and has been by myself. I've learned one thing about one player in particular today, and I think you know who I'm going to mention here. Mason Mount. Let's talk about Mason. Mason, without a doubt, was the star of the show when it came to who everyone wanted to see, who everyone wanted to talk to, understandably, right? It's Mason Mount. He's a Chelsea boy. He's almost like the poster boy. He's basically the John Cena of Chelsea right now, right? Mason Mount, I can now see why he gets selected. You can see it immediately. When you watch them train, you can see it immediately. I don't want to go into detail about other players and what I think they're lacking. But what I see some players lack is what I see Mason deliver. Mason has this thing where you watch in training, the effort is always there. You can't doubt it. The effort is always there, right? It's clear as to why Mason gets selected by various managers, because they have no doubt in their minds that he's giving less than 100%. There's no doubt. There's no doubt whatsoever. They know that it's 100% from Mason at all times. He's a positive lad. He's a great lad to talk to. He's very bubbly. Same goes for some of the other guys. But in terms of the training, because obviously off the pitch, cool. But on the pitch, you can just see he's always on it. He's always on it. There's no stopping. He's always on it. There's no point where he just relaxes and he decides to chill a little bit. He's always just on it. So I can understand from a managerial perspective or a coaching perspective as to why he gets selected. Because when you compare him to everyone else, the man doesn't stop moving. So of course, he's going to leave a good impression at all times. So Mason Mount, I can now see why. We all have our doubts sometimes as to whether he is the complete package or whether he lacks a few things, or whether, when it comes to game time, when it comes to on a match day, a couple of mistakes here and there that he shouldn't be making at that level. But ultimately, when you look at who would you trust from an effort perspective, Mason Mount's first on the list, 100%. And that goes alongside a couple of the defenders I want to say. Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva's a good lad, very smiley, always has a smile, doesn't stop smiling. He's fantastic, but he's an absolute beast. So honestly, Thiago Silva, he was pretty cool. So there is that about Mason. And as I've already mentioned, some of the other lads, overall, it seems like they do bring at least a decent level of professionalism. There's no sulking. When you get to talk to them, a lot of them are really nice guys. I'll give you some examples. Conor Gallagher, very down to earth, nice lad. To be fair, all of them were. And I want to shout out a couple of the academy lot that were there. Josh Brooking from the academy or from the development squad took part in training. He was really nice to talk to. Humphreys, Bashir Humphreys, he took part in training. He was really, really cool as well. Amari Hutchinson, I spoke to, and I have to quote him here because I think he deserves it. I did tell him personally, I wanted you to play yesterday. It's a shame you didn't play. You know what his answer was? He turned to me and he was like, it happens, right? All I got to do is keep working hard. I was like, I have nothing else to say. I have nothing to say, as Jose would say. I have nothing to say. Great answer. Because you, especially in terms of people from the public, you don't want to, even in a private conversation, say anything wrong about your manager. You don't want to do that. And he was completely professional and he left it at that. And I think that's the perfect answer. And it's the best answer and it's the best response. Put your head down, keep working and prove to him why you need to be getting selected. And he trained really well. So Amari Hutchinson, there was Eddie Beach, the goalkeeper. He was quite a character. He came over and he asked us how we were doing. He was like, how you going? How you doing, guys? You all good? Okay, nice one. Took pictures and whatnot. Really, really nice guy. So overall, everyone in the squad. There were a couple of absentees, which is a shame, to be honest. I would have loved, for example, to see N'Golo Kante. He wasn't there. Reece James, he wasn't there. Ben Chilwell wasn't there. And I have to be real. Let's talk about the manager. I saw Graham Potter, spoke with him, took pictures. So did my dad. And he gave the answer that we always hear in the press, really. He turned to us and said, because we asked him and we went, I hope, things are going to pick up a little bit. I hope we're going to be seeing results soon. And he just went, that's what we're trying to do. It's what we're trying to aim for. All right. Let's see what happens. I honestly, I wish him and I wish the squad the best. I want them to do well. We all want them to do well. We all have questions. We all have observations, and we'll wait and see what happens. But personally, I have to be real with you guys. It would have been amazing, right, if Thomas Tuchel was there today and I had that opportunity to be able to meet TT. That would have hit different. I hope Graham Potter can reach that level of connection like we had with TT, because we ended up with a genuine connection with Thomas Tuchel. We all had it, right? I can only hope that Graham Potter is able to really put his stamp on this squad. That's all I can say. Fingers crossed. But overall, everyone today I thought was fantastic. If there is any highlights that I reckon as I go through the pictures, Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva, really, really cool guys. If I'm going to mention about each player individually, Conor Gallagher, very down-to-earth, nice lad, trained well. Kai Havertz as well. You look at him and you think Berbatov, nonchalant. He's actually really close in person and he's a good character too, so fair play to him. The academy lot, as I've already mentioned, Humphreys and Hutchinson and Brooking, they all trained really well. Mason Mount came over, very down to earth, as I've already mentioned. Great character, nice guy, and knows he's the fan favourite for sure. He knows it. But very humble. And as I've already mentioned, he trains really, really well. So fair play to him. Aubameyang, the French lot were funny. Aubameyang came over. I forgot to mention Troops to him. That would have been funny. But Aubameyang, really, really cool character. I have to say, if there's a highlight in terms of the players who brought some sort of atmosphere, Aubameyang did that. He did that. He brings that to the squad, I can personally say. He brings a level of not just positivity. He brings some jokes and some life. So that's really, really cool to see. Raheem Sterling as well really seemed, I don't want to say shy, but seemed a little bit reserved, but in a nice way, in a very nice way. Very smiley guy, very cool guy as well. And again, trained really well, so fair play to Sterling. Bettinelli was a nice one. Bettinelli and the goalkeepers, as I said, Eddie Beach. I didn't see Kepa. Obviously, he's injured, so he was another absentee. Edouard Mendy, we actually wished all the best. And for the World Cup, and him and my dad had a moment, because my dad decided to tell him that all the Algerians are behind Senegal for the World Cup, and Edouard Mendy did say, we're brothers. So I respect that, because it does feel like we are. Algerians and Senegalese people get along very, very well. And then, my dad told him, please tell Sadio, give Sadio Mane, our well wishes, because it looks like he's going to be missing the World Cup, which is a shame. We all want to see a player like Sadio Mane at the World Cup, especially for an African nation like Senegal. Hope he makes it. So Edouard Mendy received that really, really well. Very bubbly. And yeah, Pulisic is shy. I want to say that. You can see he's a shy guy. He is a shy guy, it seems. And yeah, seemed a little reserved. Professional, puts a smile on his face, reserved, does his little thing, goes. So that's the vibe from Pulisic. Overall, good guy. Ziyech, as I've said, brought character that I didn't think he'd bring. He gets criticised, and we've all done it in the past in terms of thinking that he's just that guy on the side who's maybe causing a little bit of an issue. He's cheeky. He's cheeky and he knows it. And you can see from the picture as well, him and my dad, a little moment about Morocco, Algeria, World Cup, this, that and the other. And he gave a little wink, and a couple of jokes were said. That was pretty cool. Kovacic, he seemed shy too. Well, I don't know if he's 100% okay, but yeah, he seemed really, really nice too. So everyone in the squad, everyone that took part in training today that we managed to see, I thought were class. I thought were great. As I've already mentioned, from a footballing standpoint, at the training session, what I saw, I'm not going to mention just to protect them. But the positives I've already spoken about in terms of some of the character of the players. There's nothing to worry about in terms of players causing any issues within the squad. It doesn't seem like that's the case. I think if there's any players that may be unhappy, they keep it to themselves, or you can maybe just tell, and they don't cause a raucous. They don't, try and project negative feelings to anyone else. Maybe they keep it just within. That's the vibe that I get. And a couple of things that I've noticed that I've said which I think are negative points, I'm going to keep my eye out. And if there comes a right time where I can say it, I'll say it. But for now, leading up to Newcastle, I'm not going to say a thing because I don't want anything going out that might reach Newcastle in terms of information on how the lads train. I'm not going to do that to them. But yeah. Overall, pleasant experience. Thank you so much to Wellfin. Link in the description to check them out. And much appreciated to Chelsea Football Club for facilitating us and allowing us and welcoming us and giving us a good time. So thank you all very much. Let me know your thoughts down below. Tomorrow will be the preview for Newcastle versus Chelsea. And based on what I've seen today and how I think they're going to approach it, I will give you what I think will be done without actually giving out any information or detailed information from the training session. I'll give you my thoughts tomorrow in the preview of Newcastle versus Chelsea. I have to be honest, at the moment, it still doesn't seem like we're going to be going to Newcastle and doing much. But one can hope. So I will see all of you tomorrow. I'll give you my thoughts. Make sure you're here for that. Much appreciated for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you are new. Hit the notification bell to be notified once I've uploaded. I can only show you pictures from the training session, as I've already mentioned. A couple of clips, which are neutral clips, but I can't show you anything from the session itself. I hope you understand. But if there comes another time where I'm able to talk with the players or anything like that properly and catch it all on camera, and there's time and we're allowed to do so, then I will do that for you guys and bring that all to Younes Talks Football. So much appreciated for you guys watching. Thank you all so much, and I will see you tomorrow for the preview. Have a good one, people. In a bit. Take care and peace.